In this video, I'm going to show you how to grab a producer's attention in 15 seconds. Plus, I'll introduce a breakthrough follow-up strategy that leads directly to the deal. To truly reverse engineer the complete screenwriting process, we need to start at the end, and your end goal is to connect your project with its ideal producer. But how? Producers will always tell you they're not looking for material. They can't read your screenplay. Even though the truth is, unless we're busy for the next 5 years with a guaranteed production slate, we're always looking. The problem is, a properly written feature-length screenplay takes about 2 hours to read, and 99% of them are unusable by any given producer. So the fact is, producers need to put that little wall up around themselves. It's part of the juggling act. Without it, we would be overwhelmed by submissions and never get any other work done. So the unspoken reality is that producers need writers to break through that wall. Fortunately, there is a way, a shortcut to help us filter through all the noise. It's called the logline. Loglines evolved out of an old Hollywood cliche that goes, pitch me your movie in 25 words or less. It's a sentence or two, usually just one, that conveys the heart of the project. Now, writers tend to hate the logline. They think, I can't possibly condense my complex story into a single sentence. Or, my story isn't about the concept, it's about the execution. Or, with only one sentence, you're judging the story or me too quickly. But this resistance just demonstrates the gap in awareness of what producers actually need. To understand why producers tend to love the logline, look at it from our side of the table. Loglines save us time. We know instantly when a project is not right for us. They spark our imagination. Done well, we can see a whole movie from a single sentence. They demonstrate a marketing angle. This helps us sell the project, one of the producer's key responsibilities. And they reveal the writer's skill level, so we can spot talent instantly. All of which makes the logline an extraordinary opportunity for writers. So, to help you understand what a logline is and how to create one effectively, let's first look at what it's not. A logline is not a tagline, the blurb on a movie poster. This time, it's personal. Don't try to sell us the film. We're the ones who would be making the film with you. Producers need to know what your story is about. If you submit a tagline, we pretty much know your project's not ready. A logline is also not a teaser, a partial concept that's missing the meat of the story. Two cops face ultimate corruption. Will they survive with their souls? Again, we need to know what the movie's about, and this tells us nothing, except that we can safely pass on this project. It's also not about your whole story. Don't try to cram your entire story into one giant run-on sentence. That just tells us that your screenplay is going to be bloated and unfocused too. Instead, your logline is a single sentence that captures the essence of your story's plot and ignites your reader's imagination. The logline's purpose is not to tell the story. The logline's purpose is to grab their attention, let them know there's a compelling story here, and encourage them to follow up. And that's all. Now, as with all creativity, there's no one formula that's going to work for every idea, but almost every logline should include an intriguing character in a compelling situation that implies a rich, dramatic story. Now, after reading and analyzing about 20,000 loglines, I've discovered that there's a secret ingredient that makes the most effective loglines work, and that is the compelling promise. As I explained in The Missing Ingredient, every word you write is a promise that sparks the reader's imagination as they try to anticipate where you're going to go next. There are two kinds of promises: direct promises, where you literally make a promise, and implied promises, where the words you use create expectations within the other person. If you create a logline that implies a compelling story, you engage their creativity. The compelling promise is a hook that taps into our natural human curiosity. They have to follow up to see if you've achieved or exceeded what they imagined. Now think about this for a second. You can literally open any door in 15 seconds with the right logline. And this is how you break through that wall. See, as I was building the marketing phase of Fast Screenplay, the very end of the screenwriting process, I discovered a breakthrough strategy that leads from this hook directly to the deal. I call it the promise progression. We spend about 5 weeks on this in the system, but here's the gist of it. First, your logline makes a compelling promise, which hooks them and makes them need to know more. They ask to see your synopsis to find out what your story is about and see where you've taken the idea. Your synopsis then not only pays off the expectations your logline put in their imagination, it also makes or implies its own compelling promise that takes it to the next level, which your screenplay then pays off. By building an effective promise progression, your screenplay becomes a must-read. And then, if your screenplay exceeds their expectations and their imagination, you become a writer they must know, even if they can't do anything with your project right now. So the secret to breaking through that wall then is this: ignite their imagination and then deliver more than they imagined. Now, your full promise progression will include your title, your query letters, your pitches, all your marketing materials. It'll be customized for individual agents and producers and production companies, whoever you're trying to send it to. But the key to understand is that it all starts with the logline. And the best part is that there's even a dead simple way to know when you've mastered your logline. When you test it out on people, all you need to hear are 4 simple words. Wow. Tell me more. And that's why the logline may be the most important sentence you'll ever write. So before you start sending loglines out into the world, I want to give you 3 tips/warnings from the producer's perspective. Number 1, take the time to craft an extraordinary logline. Most loglines destroy the writer's chance of even getting read. Your logline reveals your skill level. So we can instantly rule out a poorly written logline or a logline that doesn't convey a story clearly or powerfully, because if the logline is weak, there's little chance that the much longer screenplay will be written at a pro level. Number 2, always create the logline after the screenplay is done. Most writers make the mistake of writing their logline first, but you need to know the compelling promise your screenplay actually delivers so that you can design a logline that sparks a promise progression that will exceed their expectations. And number 3, never send out a logline without a screenplay ready. Remember, producers are always juggling. So if we spot a project that engages our imagination, we get very excited and think, if this project is what I imagine it to be, I know exactly what to do with that. We assume that it's ready and we follow up. Now, if it turns out that that project is not ready, we may miss an opportunity entirely. It can be very frustrating. We won't consider the writer to be a professional. So for all these reasons, this is why I like to say, you only get 1 sentence to make a first impression. In fact, you know what? Don't send your loglines anywhere until you watch the next video in this series. Because to really sell your projects, you need to avoid the mistake almost every writer makes. They send their project to the wrong producers. In the next video, I'm going to explain the real secret to the deal, the one common denominator for every project that sells. Plus, I'll introduce a skill I've never seen written or talked about anywhere before. In fact, I only discovered it once I started looking for screenplays and examining screenwriting from the producer's perspective. I'll explain the skill and I'll show you exactly how to achieve it. So subscribe to this channel, subscribe to our newsletter. Please like and share this video if you can, and take action today to make your dreams a reality. Stick with me throughout the series, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.